COVID pandemic, right? Prior to this, some people may not have had internet at home and have been able to, get by pretty well with that, or may have had like a lower grade of internet, right? You didn't need all that speed because honestly, you had the library as a resource, you had school as a resource. You could go to Starbucks if you needed to do something, give them a free Wi-Fi. But then all of a sudden, the whole world shifted and everything became home based. And so some people found that, hey, they might have needed to upgrade internet to support all the different things they needed to do. On the same end, some people may have had like a gas guzzling vehicle, let's say a Hummer, for example, or a big truck, right? And so to get from to and fro here and there, they might have had a large portion of their budget dedicated towards gas. But again, with the pandemic, a lot of places have been closed, and a lot of us, including us at GM Financial, are working from home. So at that point, maybe that gas budget dialed back because it wasn't as necessary, and those extra funds were able to divert to something else that became more of a want during the time, or maybe that extra budget went to a need. So I want to play a little game with you all. I'm going to throw up a few wants and needs here, and I want you all to engage with me in the chat and let me know, hey, do you consider this a want, or do you consider this a need? So everybody, if y'all can pull up the chat. Arthur, I'm struggling to see where the chat is on Zoom. Is that? Oh, here it goes. Hello. I just typed hello in there to make it pop up for everyone. So I'm gonna click the button here and we'll have a couple things. And I just want to know from you, do you feel like it's a want or a need for you personally? So concert tickets or let's say cell phone service. Will we say want or need? My chat's not really going. Want. Yeah. Oh, I should have said which ones. Let's point the one. Haha. All right. So, so yeah, I'd agree with most of you saying concert tickets, as much as we like to hear whoever we like to hear, it's more of a want. Cell phone service at this point in time is a need. Now let's try this one: internet versus new shoes, right? Depends on who you are, but I would say in this, especially in this COVID environment, internet's probably a need. I see everybody saying need for internet, right? New shoes is more of a want, right? Cool. Morning coffee or money for gas? Now, this one might be a tricky one. Depending on where you are in life right now and how close in proximity things are to you. For some folks, gas money might not be a need. But for a lot of people, I'd say myself included, gas is a need. Cynthia says, I can walk, right? So that means Cynthia has more funds that can go to her coffee. Emily says coffee is human gas. See, might be super important for you. And the cool thing about budgeting is it's not the perspective of, what can I afford versus what can I not? Sometimes it's a trade-off. So for some people saying, hey, I need a pick-me-up to get through all the things I need to do, or my shoes really have holes in them right now, like they're not supporting me the way I need. It's not saying I can never have shoes or I can never have coffee or spending money at Starbucks is bad. What it's saying is, okay, how much can I spend here and where am I going to take those funds from? Because it's all a balance. There's leverage you're pulling in your budget. So there's no wrong answer there. You can find a way to fit in your coffee and your gas. Restaurant versus groceries, right? Want or need? I'll tell you, my parents would say groceries. Everybody just needs groceries. I don't know how many of you live alone versus live with others. I can tell you from my personal experience as an individual who lives by herself, I spend the same amount of money if I were to go out to eat versus if I buy groceries. So for me, it's simpler to just eat out if I stay, at restaurants below a certain amount. So again, it's based on what works for you. But I think for people with multiple folks in their household, you'll see that grocery bill hits a constant way before that restaurant bill. And then candy versus medicine. You know, candy is medicine. So this is a trick again. But no, again, whatever you need to sustain your life, that's important. So if you have medicine that you need to have regularly, definitely that's the need. Candy, you know, it's very nice to have. So that was a quick little example. Thank y'all for kind of playing along with us here. And again, the focus is not making you feel like, hey, I can't have this at all. It's more of, hey, if I really want this, then what other want can I dial down so that there's actually room in my budget to have that. There's an emergency outside. I don't know if y'all heard the fire truck. And so again, one other thing that I didn't quite go over here, when we think about budget, the great way to think about a budget is looking at what is your net income? That's the money that you bring in after taxes. And then you subtract your bills from that. And then you subtract your savings from that. So that's what ends up being your budget. Basically, it's your net income and all the other things, your savings and your bills. That's what makes your budget. So it's all about moving things around and sticking within that total amount that you're bringing home, which is that net income. So now we're going to jump into another quick type of activity, and it's more along the lines of that savings piece, right? The goal is to find a way to maneuver those three pieces: net income, savings, and expenses, in such a way that you can reach the goals that you have. And sometimes it's easy, especially when you're just getting started out in life, just getting out of school, or even working your way through school. Sometimes it can feel like, man, this net income equals my expenses. And so in those situations, you can either reduce your expenses so that there's more to save, or you can find creative ways to increase that income. And that's part of one reason you're going to school, so that you can have more income earning potential down the line. So I want to show you a really great visual of why it's so important to keep all three pieces in mind and focus on making sure that there's some component that can go into that savings queue, because it can really help you down the line. And the way it helps you is through the power of compound interest. So a quick question for you as we jump into this compound interest piece. I want to know from all of you on the call, if you type in the chat, you have the opportunity to either have $1 million handed to you today, or you can get 1 penny, and that penny will double every day for the next 30 days. I want you to think about it and tell me in the chat, which one would you choose? Would you say, hey, pay me now? I want my money. I want it now. Give me that $1 million. I have plans for it. Or would you take that 1 cent that doubles every day? Let's see what you would like in the chat. Cynthia says the penny. Penny. Arthur says the penny. Let's see. Charmaine says the penny for her own reason. She said, look, you can't trust me with $1 million just yet. Everybody's saying penny. Wow, y'all are a different group. I can tell you what, I've been tempted by $1 million before. So I, my mind might say $1 million because I want it up front, but we got some pennies here. Okay, Jacqueline says, hey, I want that $1 million. I'm going to just start investing with it. All right. Good. So let's walk through this. Thank y'all for your suggestions there. Let's walk through what this looks like. So on day one, we can tell you who's winning. People who took the $1 million are feeling high on the horse on day one. They have cashed in, and I'm telling you, those of you who took 1 penny that first day are going to be feeling really upset because there's nothing you can buy with a penny. I'll just tell you if you didn't know, right? Now let's get to the end of the week. So at the end of the week, the first person, they already got their $1 million, right? But at the end of the week, those who took the penny, you have 64 cents. Again, I'm sure you're going to be disenchanted with your choice, right? Then we get through the next 7 days. Now you've gone from 64 cents to $81, right? So that's some increase. But if you're gauging by what other people have that took the 1 million, you're probably still not very satisfied, but you're definitely more happy than you were in week one, right? Now, week three, it starts to get interesting. You really see the power of compound interest happening over time here, right? Because that penny's been doubling. And in 1 week, it got you to 64 cents. In 2 weeks, it brought you to $81. Now, in 3 weeks, you're in the tens of thousands. You have $10,485, all right? So still not quite a million, but at least you can feel confident that something's happening because some time has been factored into this process. Now you get to the end of 4 weeks, which is 28 days. And now you're feeling like, okay, I won. I have $1,342. Actually, yeah, $1,342,177 after 4 weeks. But we said 30 days, not 4 weeks. So look at the difference we have in day 29. Can anybody guess what you'd have on day 30 if you took the penny? Let's see who does speed math. You have any speed mathers out here? Speed. Oh, Arthur's a speed mather. Emily said, bring on the Lincolns, right? He's saying 5 million. Very close, right? Arthur does math. You all have a very smart career services director. Yes. So compound interest, assuming this penny was to double every day, right? So that's a big deal, doubling. But you see the point of the reference here. In 30 days, $5,368,709 to invest or do whatever you want with versus that $1 million at the beginning. So what this is showing you is just how we said at the beginning that now is the best time to start. Now is really the best time to start, even if you're starting with just a little going into savings or just a little investing or just a little whatever you can do to make sure that you have some funds that are going to more than just expenses. Now is the best time to do that. And a way to set yourself up for the success to make sure you have some chances of making that happen is by making sure you have a budget so that you're intentional about identifying and tracking how much you're trying to save towards your goals each month. So thank y'all for participating in that. If you find a vehicle that will double your money every day for 30 days, please let me know because I will definitely place some funds there. So that was budget. Now we'll jump into credit really quickly. And just to give you a quick overview, there's a lot of definitions for credit, but the one we're focused on is the one related to finances. So credit is basically an agreement to obtain goods or services before payment based on the trust that the payment will be made in the future. And typically there's some interest involved in that. So a lot of times outside of saving, interest works against us when we, have a phone and instead of paying for the whole phone up front, we pay some money down and then we pay per month on the phone. And typically the amount we pay at the end of our contract was more than the phone actually costs, right? That's interest working against us. So again, with the budgeting piece, the more you can make interest work in your favor through your savings, etc., it'll be best for you. But that's what credit is. It just gives you the opportunity to obtain something before you actually paid for it. And it's important because the better your credit is, the more confident that lenders feel that you will pay back whatever you're borrowing from them. The same with the flip side. If you have poor credit or no credit whatsoever, lenders might be a little bit skeptical on how likely they are to get their funds back that they let you borrow. And in order to kind of mitigate that risk for themselves, they charge you more interest, right? So this is a really great time for you all as college students to really start focusing on making credit be a priority, being responsible for your credit because it will affect your buying power down the road. So a few, I should have let you guess this, but I was going to say a few times where credit matters. If you're trying to move off campus or move into a new apartment or get a house, buying a car, buying a ring, basically financing anything, right? Anytime you want to walk away with an item without paying for it all up front, that's when credit is going to matter. And that's going to be a lot of times in your life. Really, college is the last time people are going to offer you a large loan considering deeply without considering deeply your credit. And yeah, Emily's right. Depending on the type of companies that you work for and the type of jobs that you're applying for, companies may or employers may pull your credit report before they hire you. So that's definitely something to think about. It definitely goes to show you how important your credit is. So really quickly, we want to just give you a quick insight into what goes into your credit score, where you can find more information on your specific credit information, credit history. So if you want to know and get a good idea of where you're sitting right now credit-wise, here's great names for you to take down: Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. You can actually get a credit report that shows everything that other companies will see about you from a credit perspective. You can go online and request one credit report per year from each of these different companies. So you can always maintain an awareness of what's happening on your credit report. And also, if you see something that's not accurate, you have the ability to contest it. So some people pull all three credit reports at one time. I personally, once a quarter, I'll pull Equifax at the beginning of the year, Experian, a couple months into the year, TransUnion a few months after that, so that I can make sure I have a good awareness of where I stand credit-wise. So definitely encourage you all to check into your credit history by looking at your credit reports. Really quickly here, want to let you know what makes up your credit score. It's a few different factors. One piece is the amounts you owe. The recommendation from a lot of experts is to just ensure that you use 30% of less of the credit that's available. So if, for example, if your only line of credit right now is, let's say, a Walmart credit card, and you can spend $1,000, right? That's your credit limit. Experts recommend that, okay, if you have $1,000 credit limit, maybe only use $300 or so of that at a time, just to show that you're not living on credit, right? Another piece that's really large is your payment history. This is where your everyday bills come into play. Paying that cable bill on time, that water bill on time, your rent on time. Because when you pay those bills late, they report negatively on your credit report. So you want to stay away from late payments as much as possible. Another piece is the length of your credit history. If you opened an account, let's say at 18, and that maybe it was a credit card, and you find that at 21, you're not really using that credit card as much, you want to think about whether you're actually going to close the card or just continue to not use it, because whenever you close accounts, it shortens your length of credit history, right? So just keep that in mind. The longer you've had a credit history, that impacts your credit score. The shorter that you've had credit history can impact your credit score as well. Then the next two pieces are new credit. That's basically you applying for additional lines of credit, and your credit mix. It's what types of credit do you have? Do you have installment loans, like something you purchase up front and you're paying the same amount every month until a certain time, which is like a car note or a mortgage? Or do you have revolving credit, which is more like a credit card? You swipe it up and then you pay it, right? So those are the pieces that go into your credit score. And now I mentioned that you can have no credit in the same way that you can have, low credit or high credit, right? So if you're in a position where you have no credit, you've never taken out a loan, you've paid for everything in cash up to this point, the thing is, it's considered kind of similarly to having poor credit, because the lenders don't know, they can't be confident in how quickly or on time you will pay back what they lend to you if there's no history at all. So here's some options to building up your credit history if you decide that you want to start today. today. So one, if you've been banking, you have an account with a bank, sometimes banks will actually, based on your account balances, allow you to open up your first credit card with them. So, that's an option for you there. Another option is store cards. Almost anytime you go to a major retail store, they'll try to say, hey, you can save 10% today if you take out this card. You want to be conscious of that, right? You don't want to necessarily have a credit card, open one every time someone asks you to, but the odds of approval there tend to be higher. And there's also opportunity to get some loyalty or discount rewards from that. So if it works for your situation, just know that that's an option for you. Another option is secured credit cards, which is basically credit cards that is backed by your money. So if you have a $500 credit limit on a secured credit card, that means you already gave the bank or whomever owns that card, you already gave them 500 of your dollars. Therefore, there's no chance of defaulting. They already have the money, right? And so that just allows you to build credit. And if for whatever reason you don't pay them, they already have their money from you, right? So these are just some options here. One important thing to watch out for is interest rates and annual fees. Again, you want to find a way to build credit in a way that actually meets your financial goals. You don't want to overextend yourself so you're paying a bunch of interest. And also you don't want to sign yourself up for a ton of fees, right? So just read through the details and make sure you figure out an option to build credit that works for you all the way around. Now, if you're, again, looking to improve your credit or get started on the path towards credit, here are a couple of suggestions. So one, if you have someone that you really, really trust, maybe it's a parent, probably a family member of some sort, a joint account can be a way to kind of start your credit card or start your credit history. You might be able to be an authorized user on someone's account if you don't have enough income to get approved for your own lines of credit. You can also, again, look for cards that accept folks with limited or no credit whatsoever, but you want to be strategic about how often you're applying for credit, whether that be cards or lease applications, etc., because inquiries can impact your credit score. So last bit of information regarding credits. I know we blew through that, so feel free to screenshot this if you want to. But one, just remember, credit cards are a tool for you. They're a tool that should be working for you at any point in time. It's a way to build credit responsibly, but any tool, just like a hammer can be used to, nail a house together, a hammer, if you take it to the side of your head, can cause some damage, right? So a credit card is no different. You want to be responsible with it and have a plan when you open up credit cards. Again, whatever a company says that they'll approve you for, the goal is not to use 100% of what's there. It's to show that you can operate in moderation and show that you don't need to live on your credit. You just have it available and you'll pay it off. That brings us to paying it off. Again, paying off the balance every month or in full is going to help you avoid interest. Again, you want interest to work for you as much as possible, be that through your high yield savings account, your investments, other vehicles. You want to avoid paying interest as much as you can. So, paying off those balances every month will help you do that. And that also is going to help you have a higher score, which can lower your interest rates in the future for those items that you are going to pay interest on, like a car note or a mortgage. And then make a plan to pay off credit card debt. So if you've already started your credit journey and you've racked up some bills, right? Whether that's credit card debt or student loan debt, what have you, don't let it feel overwhelming to you. You haven't you haven't lost, right? Sometimes debt is important and helps us get from one phase of life to the next. So just take some time, sit down, write out your budget, and create a plan to help you pay off the debt that you already have, and then set some goals for the future. And then last, just as a quick reminder, you want to monitor your credit activity. You can do that a couple times per year. Again, we told you about Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Those are great credit reporting agencies that you can look into. So yes, this is pretty much all the information we've gone over today. So I want to be really cognizant of time. I see some questions in the chat, so I'm going to pull this slide down and want to definitely answer any questions that you have. So I'll start with Cynthia's questions. Best way to begin establishing credit if you haven't had any, if you don't have any credit currently. I think the best slide for that is this one we shared. You have a few options. You know, if you currently have a bank, you know, talk to them about getting a credit card through the bank. Also secured credit cards. Those are two really good options. You also have this store card option here as well. Also, if you took out student loans, those are going to establish your credit history as well, but oftentimes people take a while to pay back student loans. So these are options for you. Is GM Financial hiring? Yeah, we have all of our available positions on our HR website. I believe it's careers@gmfinancial.com. So I know in customer experience, we just hired a large group, I don't know, 60 or so people into our customer experience department. But the best way to keep track of available positions with GM Financial is definitely careers@gmfinancial.com, and you can see what all is available there. Great. Any other questions, thoughts, or ideas? Y'all have been really great today. Yes, I'll type the credit report for the agencies in the chat. Equifax. Yep, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. All righty. Perfect. Think we've handled all the questions there. So I'll stay on here a couple minutes if anyone wants to chat privately or anything like that. But also want to make sure to give you some info on how you can stay in touch with Keys by GM Financial. Just like we have these live experiences where we'll take 30 minutes or so and just give you an overview of some really great financial empowerment information. You can actually take your Keys learning to the next level by visiting this website here, gmfinancial.everfi-next.net. That's actually our Keys online site, and we have a ton of financial wellness material there. So we encourage you all. It's completely free. It's just our service to the community. So we encourage you all to check out Keys online and look at the information there, because there's a ton there for you. Additionally, if you want to engage with us or with Keys or with GM Financial, great ways to do that are through Twitter specifically and through LinkedIn. Here shortly, we'll launch an Instagram, so you'll be able to connect with us there. So I'll type the Keys by GM Financial info in the chat also. But other than that, I just want to say thank you all so much for connecting with us, for asking your questions. And let's see, I see one more question here, the credit card where you can give the bank money. Oh yeah, that's a secured credit card or secured card. So you can go to the bank and you can ask them, hey, do you have any secured credit card options? And you'll be able to give them your money, and then they'll be able to, you'll be able to start building credit, but based on the safety of knowing that they already have the money. You'll have however much money you give them. So I see Arthur is sharing a survey. I really encourage you all to take just 1 or 2 minutes to fill out that survey. It's so great to be able to capture your feedback for us, and then also for Arthur and his team. I want to say thank you to Arthur and team for putting this on. He's a great champion for all of you over at UNT Dallas, and we really enjoy just coming in and connecting with you all. You're all always so engaging. So we look forward to sharing additional info with you. I think we have a car buying workshop coming up, and then even protecting your credit. So we'll be engaging with you all monthly. So just look out for that. Invite your friends to come to the next one.
I think we have one final question.
What's a good APR to look for? Annual percentage rate. So that's really going to depend on your own financial situation. Good will be based on what are you buying, and then also what is your financial situation? What can you qualify for? Let me see. I'll turn over to Beverly if she has any more color that she wants to put around a good APR to look for.
Yes, Michaela, I think that's a great question. So a lot of the times, as Michaela mentioned, your APR is also based on your credit score. Your APR could be an indication of what that lender is going to charge you to loan you the money to buy whatever asset that is, whether that is a home, whether it's a car, or whether it is some other secured means. So typically, when you have a high credit score, you can expect a very low APR. And when you have a lower credit score, in the reverse or inverse, you can expect a higher APR. One of the things that you can also do is before you go and make any purchase, whether that is a home or whether it's a car, is to take a look at inquiring with your local bank or financial institution. A lot of those institutions can give you a good guide as to what the average APRs or the lowest APR that they are offering. Many a times it comes with some qualifiers that you must meet, but that gives you a good indication on what you can do to secure the lowest APR that's available and save as much money and keep as much of your money in your pocket.
Awesome. Thank you, Beverly. Right. All right. So awesome. Well, we appreciate you all again. I think we've answered those questions. If you think of any other questions, I'm going to drop a link in here, or email address. It's going to be keysbygmfinancial.com. And always feel free to email us directly, and we're more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So it's keys_by_gmfinancial.com. There we go. Oh, I sent it to one person. I'm going to send it to everyone. All righty. Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much again for connecting. It's great. I love seeing all of your thank yous and positive info in the chat. We really appreciate you all, and we look forward to seeing you at an upcoming workshop, be it about car buying, protecting your credit, or any other cool topics that we have. Also, if you have suggestions of additional topics that we can research and put together, you might want to see. If you want to send that to Keys by GM Financial email address, we'd love to just get your feedback. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.